Jump in.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. What's up, guys? We also, as you can tell, we got a special guest, the man, the coach of Warrior Cup champions, a great guy and awesome, amazing person in our sport, Jessie Wray. How you doing, my friend?
And claps to
Doing
you,
well,
my friend.
man. Doing well. Happy to be here with you guys.
Yes,
We're glad to
sir.
have you.
So, guys, make sure you guys are sharing everything that's going on right now. I know we're on a little late. You know, that happens sometimes. You know, it's all good. But we're going to have a great show. We have, of course, Jesse's going to be with us this show. We're also going to bring on Ross later on in the show. And, man, I was happy to see you there, Jesse, because I hadn't seen your Warrior Cup in a while. So,
Yeah.
last 2 years. So it was cool to see you, man. I was excited that Tyson was there to compete. And I think someone brought it up that Alex and I did bring up Tyson. Like when we talked about, you know what?
Yep.
What if Tyson does it this year? What if he does it? And then when I found out, you know, that final thing, I was like, you know what? Of any of those people besides, you know, Avery, I say whoever gets through this one's going to win.
Tyreek and Tyson. Those are the ones.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we actually there was two options. One option. Tyson was thinking about going to the Golden Glove, and in Italy this year in Venice, but he decided not to go. And it's like, yeah, you want to go to? He said he wanted to go to the Warrior Cup, and he think he could win it this year. This is what he told me. And I was like, I mean, if you want to go, you know, it's really not my favorite thing, but let's go. We're going.
Yeah.
And we went, man. We put the work in, and yeah, he talked it into fruition.
Now, when you say it's not your favorite thing, what makes the tournament your favorite thing, and what about it is not your favorite?
It's well, we discussed some stuff before on the Kappa, on the Kappa scene. But you know, we're gonna give it
Just
a
want
shot.
to make sure it's not the entire city of Chicago.
Nah, man, I love Chicago, man. I love Chicago. But a couple of experience at the AKA before had turned me off a little bit. But it was a pleasant experience this year. Not just because we won. I think things were running a little better as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good to see.
I think just like I know 2022 and 2023 we had some things that, and I think many people had a lot of suggestions that, hey, you know,
what's up, Bailey?
it's not going the way that we want it. You know, we're not seeing the growth, you know, but a lot of people are coming. And then last year they really stepped up big time. They stepped up big time. I thought the way they ran it was better. They stepped up on the money and the prize money, doing that. And then I feel like this year they even reap more benefits of that, you know.
I want to touch on that. Definitely, the prize money is back up to the standard.
Yep.
Their production is just different. Like they got TVs all over the place for the Warrior Cup, and they're constantly showing videos, even walking from behind the stage. I don't know if you see the video I put up. You could see a TV of the commentators. They got the long thing, the follow. It's definitely next level with the lighting and the cameras.
Yeah, and the camera angles this year were the best I've ever seen. It's like stuff that, you know, like you see, like I see on like pro wrestling or something crazy like
theater.
that.
It's like theater.
Yeah,
They definitely got a production. I want to say like they had a lot of judges at this event.
Yeah.
They brought a lot of judges in this time.
They did.
And gave them rooms.
Yeah.
So they learning. They doing something a little different. So I see them trying, and it definitely was a better experience than it was in the past.
Yeah, and for me, it's you know, just like I've had those experiences, but I also like, it's something about that first term of the year, right? Like everyone's excited about it. The competition every year keeps getting bigger and bigger. And so it's interesting, just that, there's people that complain that say, oh, well, don't go if it's not, you're not getting what you want. But at the same time, they are growing, right? Yeah, I mean, I see, Bailey, what you're talking about. That was one thing for
I
me.
agree
I
with what
really
he's
saw
saying as
maybe
well.
three fights the whole time because we were over on one side of the room where they had forms, and then fighting was on the other side. So for me, who loves watching fighting, but I'm also really busy as well, it's hard to see it all, right? So I need to go back and watch different things.
Yeah,
That's hard,
they they did that to us all the time at the Diamonds too, man. They
Yeah,
had us in the corner room, so
yeah,
definitely like they gotta highlight that fighting, man, and make it like a center thing. Don't have to be on a stage,
right.
but
Exactly.
give it a
Sometimes
bit.
the stage is not better.
Nah, I kind of like the ground, man. Sometimes,
Yeah.
but they gotta like
And
get
they
them
had the
in.
bigger rings, right, Jesse? Did they have the bigger rings over there?
The
Or
ring
they set?
wasn't an issue.
Okay,
You know when the ring was an issue to me
mm-hmm.
on the stage.
Yeah,
Did you know, like outside of that red box,
yeah,
is out of bounds.
yeah,
That's too small.
yeah,
They
yeah.
and they got the room on the stage, so just put a little bit of tape a little
Around it.
further outside of the perimeter and say this is out. But that red box is not enough, especially if you're a lightweight going against a heavyweight.
Correct.
Yeah, you have to move.
And
Yeah,
it's not the square, so you can't count it up like you can count the regular rings. Yeah,
correct. Yeah, so you didn't
they
really
gotta
know.
right.
That's true. That's true. I noticed that just that it was a problem, looking at him like, I think I mean, I noticed it on Jimenez's fight with Katarina. Obviously, she's going to move, right? And then I noticed it on Tyson's as well. So,
Yeah, but I mean, to kind of touch on what Bailey said, about getting the fighters in view, like I've mentioned this multiple times, but she did this at this tournament 10 years ago. It was 10 years ago when she did this. Emily Cooper decided, she goes, I'm going to run this like an actual production. And so
I remember
it was the best. It was the best.
She
all
had
the fighters,
everybody.
one ring.
Yeah.
Everybody got checked in before any fighting started. You didn't have to worry about it. And we all were made aware, like, you're going to check in now. We all were like, damn, all right, let's go. And then you checked in, and then you knew, like I'm a light heavyweight. I have a significant amount of time. Okay, got it. And then you could see like who was in the division. So that way you knew, like, oh, light middleweight's only got 4 fighters. I can't sleep on that if I'm a middleweight. I got to be ready to go.
And she even jumped around during certain fights. So
So that
we were getting to the final of one. She didn't wait. She didn't give 2 minutes. Nope.
Come back.
Let's do the next division. Let's do your first fight.
Come back. Yeah. Like that. Robert Hilton, thank you, man. Appreciate your kind words.
But then nobody wanted to play ball with her. Nobody wanted to let her do it anymore. She ran the best one 10 years ago, and then nobody let her do it again. All right. If you do that, she's very good at it. I mean, look at it. She has sportmartialarts.com.
Right.
Well, we don't know the behind the scenes. Maybe she wanted to check.
Well, they
did.
I tell you what, I got to give, before we go any further, I got to give, their whole crew, Mad Action, Sport Martial Arts,
they did very
Royal Caribbean, Century, AKA all those guys, like they have an awesome staff, and that was, and they worked their butt off. I talked to Sharky about it, and he just said, man, I mean, he's just so thankful for that crew that he has there to do it. So, and
I gotta give them credit, just like you said, Jeff. We was a little critical of them before, but I gotta give them credit. From when the time you walk into the hotel, you're seeing Warrior Cups, you're seeing TVs.
Yep.
You got these videos playing from downstairs, upstairs.
There's no other tournament that does that. No other tournament like it.
Showing this is a karate event. It shows the previous Warrior Cups. And then like that level of production, like we were saying earlier, is just like phenomenal. They're probably the best one that does that. When,
100%.
walk in the building.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a pretty decent experience.
But it doesn't seem like it's anything that's impossible. Like Capital Classics could do that. Like just throwing a random one out there. I mean, like they could totally do something like that. But it's like somebody starts it and you go, oh, okay. I don't mind copying that. That's actually really cool. I'll copy that. If you want to call me a copycat, go ahead.
I was taking notes. Definitely, I was taking notes. So yeah, hopefully I'll do some different things at the King of New York this year for sure.
All right, so talk about judging there, Jesse, and then I want to get into just Tyson's road to the cup.
I think the judging was solid. I just like every other tournament. They have some rings that have strong judges, and sometimes they gotta swap out, whether it's they have a student in there or just a rotation thing, and you get one judge that's a little weaker than the others. But I think you had in most rings a consistent two. The judging wasn't terrible. Nobody's ever going to be 100% happy with judging, but I'll give the judging a B plus.
Okay,
B plus.
Now, one thing
for the fighting.
Oh, okay, for the fighting,
Forms, I did not. I did get to see a couple of underbelt divisions for some of my students and the next level kids from the South. And their forms division was also solid as far as the judging. But I didn't get to see really no black belt things beyond the stage.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the competition for forms is just, there's certain divisions, they're just at an all-time high. And honestly, it's hard. I mean, as much as I could maybe complain, I wanted to win this one or this one, I thought I had it. But man, there was just some difficult, like right now, I just got to say the 12-13 girls black belt division for forms weapons is insane. It's one of the most talented divisions I've ever seen. And they're just going at it. And then you look on the other side, you got the 14-15 and the 16-17 boys that are just packed. I think they had to split the boy almost every division because they had close to 30 in every division.
Yeah.
For those 14-15 boys. Yeah, so I mean there's so many. And then honestly the adults, man, the adult men, the adult women and everything, is huge. All of our divisions are over 20 in every division. So it's stacked. So also what I was going to say there, just what I had heard too, is that they were down 15 judges, like 15 that they had scheduled didn't show up. So honestly, for them to do what they did, I know, honestly, let's be honest. Friday was a long day. Okay. I was there from 8 a.m. I think we left at like 11:30. It was a long day, but Saturday was pretty smooth. I'll be honest. Saturday was smooth. So
yeah. Now down 11 judges. Well, they made it work. They made it happen. And you got local guys like Dewan, Digman. I mean, you guys jumped in and helped, and Sharky had like Kip from Next Level in the South, Kodak. Like he had all these people judging, man. So he got it moving.
I didn't even plan on judging, and I judged. But I also don't feel bad about that at all. If anybody feels like I can be of service and I can help, like I want to do that. And even Dewan, what up, Dewan? I saw him did same thing that you were saying, Jesse. Like you saw me, you didn't get a chance to talk because I was judging. It's the same thing with Dewan. I love that guy.
Dewan got a fractured his hand.
I noticed that.
Yeah, but Dewan is. I'm gonna jump out there and say this, man. He's one of the best judges.
Yes.
No favoritism. Fast, concise calls. No nonsense. No nonsense.
You ever noticed, Jesse? He puts himself in a position to make the right call. Like it's not just that he makes the right call; he makes sure that he is positioned to where he can make the right call and justifiably, like, everyone can see, like, yeah, he was in position. Like, I always feel like in the end, was the right call made? But then sometimes someone can look at that and go, how could you have seen that?
He's
Right?
awesome.
But
No,
he
yeah,
puts
he's
himself in a position
He's
where it's
awesome.
like, yeah, of course you could see that.
He
Yep.
needs to be flown out and be in these tough divisions
Yeah.
for these black belts. He also needs he's no nonsense. Like him and Yaskar almost got into it because Yaskar like shook his head and like questioned his integrity. He didn't say anything, but he just went like this. And Dewan, I'm like, yo, he had to separate him. We like,
Yeah.
yo, this is Chicago. You don't want to do this, Yaskar.
Right.
And, but you know, they worked it out. They squashed it. It was all good. But oh my God, that guys, he needs to be considered in that referee category of elites.
Well, we're talking about Dewan
Okay.
Brown. He's a great judge.
Yeah.
Dewan Brown's a great judge from Chicago.
You know, Jesse,
we're getting a lot of comments.
That would be a good VFT match right there.
Oh
Jesse,
yeah, that would be
with Yoskar and Dewan, right?
They should sit in the corners for traditional challenge.
No, he's talking about, so right now, yeah, there's a lot of talking, which we've talked about with Kappa in the past, talking between the judges and sitting too close to each other. And it was happening the whole time. And that's got to stop. And again, put them separate corners. There's no reason why not.
Well, I think at this point we could in theory just do that for all divisions.
The Kappa, we did not forget about you.
Yes.
We are just mobilizing and getting our act together.
Yep.
And we'll be back soon. But keep sending in those complaints so we can have a list. But the judging, sitting next to each other, talking in a traditional challenge is unacceptable. Watch a WKF tournament,
right,
or anything like that. This does not happen. Korean tournament.
No,
it's
yeah.
Insane.
Correct. So, there's a lot of different things on that way that I think, again, we just got to over communicate and we got to say what we want, and we got to just share it in a way that they get, so there's a process in there. I had to do a lot of that this weekend with just new rules and things, and it was a lot of no, he said, she said stuff of, well, this is what we want to do. And it said, okay, but this is what you wrote down in the rules. I had to present that several times, that, oh, well, the last term we did this. Okay, that was a mistake. This is what we're supposed to do in Korean forums, in Korean challenge, and, with the new rules, with what you can actually do if you're a 30+ competitors, what you can compete in, right? So there's a lot of things like that.
Yeah, because I saw you look like you was about to leave and scrap the whole thing. Like, you were making a lot of mistakes, man.
There was one part where I got a little into, but I mean, honestly, overall, it was a good event. But there was that. So, and I got to give a lot of credit to Ronnie Presley for trying to do what he could. It wasn't the best thing for us. I don't think it's the best to put a man and a female against each other head to head on stage. But I know they were trying to help us to do what they said they were going to do, to follow through with it to some point, right? So we'll cross that road later. But
yeah, Leandro, they thought we were in New York.
Yeah. All right, so Tyson, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about his road to the top, and what was some of the biggest matches getting to the finals for him?
Yeah, let's not just talk about the finals. Let's talk about the road. I love that. Thank you.
The road. Okay, so he had to go through the lightweight division. Well, this usually Tyson fights the 140s.
Yes.
Right. So the 140 became, he will always have to he'll be like 149. He'll play between 149 and 152. And he's like, yo, I don't want to cut this tournament. So like, all right. We'll roll with it. And he said he's feeling stronger in 150. So we went up to 150s. And and his mindset was like, yeah, I'll just have to. I like to get people out of there early. So we're thinking like probably Enrique or somebody who's going to be in there, and like we meet him in a division and try to get him out the division early and worry about whoever else after. And I was like that too. People like to avoid the conflict in the division. I like to get it out the way early and deal with whatever's left after.
Well, it puts everything in your hands. Like you're the one in control. If you want to defer and wait for it, now you're hoping somebody else takes care of that work for you.
Yeah.
And then you can like, oh, you got him. Well, I can get you. Right. And so I love that approach where it's like, I want to be in control of my own destiny.
Right.
I can't honestly say I've always wanted to do that. Right.
No,
I lived in a world where I had to fight Jason Borelli and Raymond Daniels, and I never beat either one of them. So, yeah,
that's tough. That's a tough mix. But just think about me. I had Johnny Guante.
Yeah. What about you? Yeah, exactly.
Preston, Mike Pombero.
Yeah.
Anthony. Joseph Alexander.
Yeah.
Like Mighty Joe, Joseph Rivera from Metro, all in the same division. It was like, this is a madhouse, man. We in there picking each other off. So it's like that. But so he got the division. It came down to him and Oscar. He fought Leo Felipe from Revolution.
Yeah.
He had some couple fights, man. And then it came down to him and no, Oscar was for the grand.
Yeah, because
so it must have been Leo. It must have been Leo for the division then.
I think Leo was before. I can't remember the final fight. But he got out the lightweight division and then he fought Oscar, who was fighting amazing this weekend.
Yeah.
I
saw some video. He looked good.
And he had to go up a division because Tyson used to fight him for the grands and super light and light.
Yeah.
So now he's the lightweight, the 140s. Tyson
now they're all starting to put
beat Tyreek
muscle on.
Right.
Oscar beat Tyreek.
He beat Tyreek in the 140s. So that's how good he was fighting this weekend.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
Then Tyson fought him. It was a good fight. Pretty relatively close throughout the fight, and then at the end Tyson like pulled away a little bit. So then after that, was that the grand or was that the overall?
Who'd he beaten for the welter?
In the division. Yo, my mind is going blank.
Because Tyson was light welter. So who was in the welter? Who was in the 160s?
Ooh, man. Sorry if whoever was in the 160s.
All good. It's okay.
Whoever was in the 160s.
Someone will chime in.
I apologize right now.
Yeah, Tony's right. Overall is Oscar because Oscar won the lightweight grand. Tyson won the welterweight grand. They fight for the lightweight overall for sure.
Yeah, well, who did he beat for the
Oscar beat Zach? That's right.
Yeah.
No.
Oscar did.
Oscar beat Zach.
Yeah.
Zach Winder, what cut that much? That dude has 2.5% body fat. What is wrong with him?
Was it Hunter or was Hunter? I thought Hunter was up higher this time, but I guess not.
No, Hunter fought like Kevin. Wouldn't he fight 170s?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, Hunter beat Alex.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either way, let's not stay hung up. Some of the insiders. If you know,
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. A lot of head kicks into my life.
It was a whirlwind of a weekend. It's all good.
Right. So anyway, so we get through there, and then we make it to the final four for the oh no, this is what happened. Kevin, Alex Macias could not continue to fight in the Warrior Cup.
Right, because he won the open weight.
Right, because of concussion protocol or whatever. He won the open weight. That was his spot, right? So then once he couldn't continue, they brought the person he fought last back in the mix, which was Kevin Walker.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Kevin Walker fought 160s. right?
He can do that. That's right.
Right. So
This guy
he
could be
could have had
160s or 190s.
right. He
Okay.
could have had 2 spots. So since he already made it through the Alex Mencius through the open weight, he bowed out to Tyson. That's what happened.
Oh, okay.
Checked out.
Right.
Okay.
Because instead of like,
Yeah.
possibly having to fight him twice, and Kev
Yeah.
is legit 30 now. So
Legit 30.
that's what legit 30. So
gonna
that's
tell
what
him.
happened. So he bowed out to Tyson, and then Tyson made it to the final 4, which was Kevin,
Brayon.
Avery, Bryan, and Tyson.
Yeah.
So
So
of
first
course
fight
Tyson,
was Avery. Like
Tyson drew Avery first, and they've never fought before. All
Wow.
the open weights and everything, they've never fought before. So I think
That's
that was a good
crazy.
thing for
That is
us,
crazy to think about that.
right?
I know.
And there's certain people that if you were to say, yeah, this person's never fought that person, but they've been at the same tournaments for a decade and have never fought.
That's
right?
me and Jack Felton. I never fought Jack.
That's
We
that's crazy
always-
to think about.
We
Yeah.
always like
Or like
skirted.
when you guys fought teams against each other, it was just decided you were going to have different matchups.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I had
Yeah.
one like that, and like we had him on the show. That was Robbie Lavoie for me. Like
Yeah.
there's on a team that I could either be Raymond or Robbie. It was always decided. Everyone was like, Alex does not fight Robbie, right?
Right.
That was kind of the decision. Right.
I never fought to what's my man's name from Minnesota? He was on a team with the Twins.
Nate
Thorne.
Yeah.
I never fought Nate Thorne. We
Nate's
always
sneaky, man.
we were always
That is
like
actually
that, but-
surprising because you guys both were fighting really active when you guys were in your 30s. That you would think that would have happened.
Yeah, one
That's weird.
day we were like, we thought it was gonna happen. He kind of was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and I'm like, me too. And somebody lost. I can't remember, but it was
That's
one of those
crazy.
things.
Nate's
That's
sneaky
crazy.
because he's not like he's not a power hitter, and he's not super fast. He's quick, but he's got a chamber that's like at his eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
And
That's true.
but his timing, or his cadence with that always kind of catches you off guard because you think it's going to be something that it's not, and then by the time you realize what to do with it, he's got 3 points, and you're like, well, what the heck now?
Yeah, exactly. So we draw Avery.
Hey,
We
man.
draw Avery for the first round, and again, I think it was a good thing that they never fought before, because it's no nothing to base, but we just video or live eye on game planning. But we had a decent game plan, and it worked. And
Well, also, don't give it them any extra ammo.
right.
Right. Because because however the fight goes, there will be improvement from this point on.
Right.
Oh yeah, Avery's gunning for him. But Tyson just his style, like he got the movement.
Mhm.
He can kick, he can punch.
Yes.
If you haven't fought him or been in front of him for like a first time, it's gonna take a second to start figuring it out. If you've been going at it with him for a while, then you probably have a better understanding. But just to be a first timer fighting him, it is gonna be different. It's gonna feel different.
That's true, but hang on. He did fight different this weekend. He fought different, right? So I've said this about Tyson before. Like, if you don't have your front hand cemented up, you might as well just back fist yourself, right? Because it's over, right?
Yeah,
It's too dang quick, right? And it's a move that like everybody should have a move. Like, I need a point now. I just need to get a point now, no matter what it is. What's that technique? Tyson can hang his hat on. Like, I know I can always get this, right? So if you don't have that up, like, forget about it. You will get scored on. But he looked different.
He was throwing a body punch and following.
And not only that, he got low. It's hard. Like I was watching that and like, well, how are you supposed to stop that? Right?
Right.
How are you supposed to stop it? Right?
Yeah.
He's already shorter than Avery. He gets lower than Avery and gets those hips so close that like the jump back fist is probably the only option at that point. And Tyson ain't slow. He was so fast too. So it's like
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
It was
Like
impressive.
how are you supposed to stop that? Right?
Yeah, like he we definitely talked about you gotta let the body punch go a lot. We watched a few fights or whatever, and we know that that was a technique that we needed to use more. Avery is definitely like a super defensive guard up type person, man. If you go back fist on him, fight, you're not gonna win. So you could get a couple in, but you gotta mix it up. And Tyson was very smart, man, and made the adjustments, and he wanted it bad. So we after that fight, we fought Kevin earlier in open weight, I believe,
Okay.
on Friday. So he got a taste, of Kevin. And so we had a game plan for Kevin as well. But yeah, so the Avery definitely was different. His shoulder came out when he went up. Avery guard lifted his arm up and punched, and Tyson is 150, early 150s. Avery's 200 plus muscle. So yeah, he felt the difference in the weight. But he's a warrior, man. Shook it off, got in there, and finished the fight. But yeah, so the Kevin fight was 2 rounds. Avery fight was 1 round.
But Tyson and Kevin have fought each other multiple times before.
Not a lot. I think 1 time before.
Is that it?
Wow. Okay.
You would have thought they would have fought a bunch more as well, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I would have.
See, that's another one of those.
If anybody in the chat knows, but I could only remember 1 time.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 time. I know Kevin fought Darren Moore, but Tyson once. Because like you said earlier, Kevin, he can be on the lightweight side.
He can be on the heavyweight.
A lot of time on the heavyweight side. So
yeah, so
fluctuates.
he can fight anywhere, man.
Yeah, he can fight
and man, Kevin was on. Kevin, I mean, that was a great fight.
Kevin is dangerous. Kevin is still Kevin.
Yep.
He took care of business. He beat everybody he needed to beat. And so and he actually was leading against Tyson for a while on a 2-round fight. And Tyson just refused to lose this time, man. He stayed on top of business. He kept pushing the pace. He stayed in the space. He kept forcing. Like Kevin came out kicking. He wanted him to work early and like take him into to the shark water, in the second round. And but Kevin's a vet, man. He still can punch. He still can kick. He got length. He's a legit 6-footer, right?
Yeah.
Legit 6-footer. So,
so many of us wishing to be 6-footers. We're not 6-footers. We try to stretch out and kick like we're 6-footers. We're not 6-footers.
Yeah, we lie on our application, right? but yeah, man. And Tice just kept pushing, kept grinding, kept pushing, kept grinding, man. And then we got the win, man. We were so happy, man. His uncles was there, Sheldon, Kodak. My nephews were there. So this one was special. We had a lot of motivation. The family was in the building. I think he felt real good about that, and he just felt like a different power, and brought one back to the Bronx. So we was very, very happy about that.
That's awesome.
So when you mentioned a few things about the fight, what would you say in that fight with Kevin was the turning point?
I think the second round was a turning point because Kev came out kicking. He came out on his Alex Digman game.
Well,
You
I don't
know,
know
he
about
was
that, but I did see a lot of that.
right. He came out kicking first round. Second round, if you watch, Tyson like kind of stayed close to him and just forced him to keep pushing out energy. So that was that was that was one of the things too. Like that young man, young energetic pressure definitely will drain you a little bit. You just got to stay busy. So then Tice kept pressing the action. And you know, you see at one point he ran off a couple points back to back to back. So
well, that's kind of what it was. So I felt like when I went back to rewatch it, I felt like the turning point was Kevin got that point when he exited the ring, right? Or he got that penalty point against him, right?
yeah, Tyson got the point. Yeah.
Tyson got the point. Kevin was upset. I mean, he was mad, right? And then came back, bang, bang, kicked right at Tyson, got him. And you would think like, dang, I just got these points. Now he gets two back. But it was so immediate how fast Tyson came back with that rear hand blitz. It just nullified that, right? And
Yeah.
so what Tyson did to him was the same thing that Kevin was trying to do. Like, you got a point for me, watch, I'm taking it right back. And then when Tyson responded right back away, it just killed all that momentum, right? And he just took it right back. And that's deflating when you feel like I got you. And then now, and so quickly it's gone, right?
Yeah, Kev went up by like 3 at one point. And Tyson kept pressing. I'm coming. Let me get back. And it always starts with one. Always start with one, and then you roll and get another one. Again, he's staying in his space and was kind of like forcing Kev to like make a decision. And if Kev didn't, he was gone. And that's hard to stop. Like, I spar these young guys, man, and just think about like trying to keep in a 2-minute time, trying to keep these wolves off you, man. If you let up or you don't got the tank or the energy, they're gonna get in,
devour
man.
you.
They're gonna get in, and they have to do that for the whole round. Like, you can't take a second off. You can't take 5 seconds off on the round. This kid is like 1 foot away from you, bouncing in and out. You know, it's not easy.
Do you still fight with them all?
Yes, I do.
Good. Me too.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Are you significantly sore later?
Oh man, I gotta go do cryotherapy. Cryo's my
But
best
that's good
friend.
though. That's a really good thing. I need to do that.
I go in the refrigerator, man. The cryo is my best friend.
You feel really good afterwards?
Oh man,
I love it,
man.
Yes, I do.
I know someone who would know a lot about that.
Yes,
I go on the one, not the one when your head is out. I go in the actual refrigerator.
Like your face is submerged and everything.
You know, you go in like a refrigerator type of style thing where they close.
So you're not joking when you say you go into a refrigerator.
Yeah, it's like they close
legit.
the door, and for 3 minutes you're in there. They play whatever music you want, and you're in there freezing your life away, moving around. Like, how much? It's a big clock in front of you. How much time left? I love it though, man.
Wow. All right.
Let's see if the doc knows anything about this.
Yeah, let's bring on another New York champion. What's up?
Yeah,
what's up, BX, baby?
What's up now?
Listen, New York has the most Warrior Cups.
Yo, is that a fact?
It has to be.
Yeah,
it gotta be. With you alone, man. With you alone.
We're just gonna keep adding to it, man. I'm so proud of Tyson. I've seen that dude since he was a little guy, and him climbing the ranks. And I gotta say, one of the things that I love that Tyson does, particularly this weekend, is and I talk to all my students that still point fight about this. Is like, you could steal points off the line off of so many fighters, and nobody does it. I used to do it a lot. I just get to the line and be ready. Like people waste those couple seconds in between, and Tyson was on it. He did it to Avery a lot. He did it to Kevin a couple times.
This
and
is
I
how I
was
know
like,
Ross
"Man."
watched the fights.
Yeah. I'm still
Tyson
invested.
did that to everybody all
Yeah,
weekend.
everybody. You got to do it. You have to do it. It's free points. If you're going to give me free points, I'm taking them. But man, congratulations to that guy. It's really, really cool. Has anyone else refresh my memory? Anyone else from Next Level win a Warrior Cup, or is he the first one?
Yeah, Darren Payne.
Darren, that's what I thought. Okay.
Darren is the
All right,
youngest, actually. He was
Yeah.
He was-
unbeknownst to everyone, he was 17. Yeah, he won it at
Good deal,
17.
man.
So
Good deal. Well, congratulations, my friend.
and check this out though. That year, Tyson won the overall grand. Then he fought Cam. Lost to Cam. Darren beat Cam.
Right.
So this was Tyson's second trip there.
Yeah,
He's only been to Warrior Cup twice.
All right.
Wow. That's huge. That's huge, man.
Well,
Yeah.
he's only got 8 more to go. 8 more to go, baby.
That's it. That's it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
I'm proud of that guy.
Yo, Ross, we was talking about some stuff, man, and
Do you ever do cryotherapy, Ross? Jesse was just telling me about cryotherapy, and now I need to get on this. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I have. Cryo's good. I mean, it's one of those modalities where obviously it's all about the deep freeze. I think you'll hear if you listen to Joe Rogan enough, you'll hear him talk about heat shock therapy, cold shock therapy, those proteins that our body create that helps fight inflammation, reduce pain, things like that. It's good for regenerating tissue. There's good science behind it. Is there one that's better than the other? Not necessarily. My general recommendation for people are like, listen, if you like cold, do the cryo. If you like the heat, do the sauna. Like all that stuff is really good. Sometimes it's just about maybe the things that you don't like. Maybe you have to feed yourself the stuff that you don't like to do to kind of get you mentally over the edge. But they're all equally good. So whatever you enjoy. I mean, you guys. Alex, you're in an area you don't really need cryotherapy. Just step outside for 5
I was
minutes.
just thinking to myself, I would
Open the
much rather
windows.
do cryotherapy than the sauna.
Just open the windows. You're good.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah, we were feeling that way this weekend. Walking outside, I walked outside Sunday, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Well, you know what's funny? One of the reasons why we were late, why I was late getting on, is I got a phone call from my kids' school that school's canceled tomorrow because it's going to be 10 below zero. So and I'm like, all right, well, okay, hang on.
They're getting soft in Minnesota, man.
Well, I'm in Chicago. I'm not in Chicago. I'm in Chicagoland. I know enough not to say I'm in Chicago.
They're getting soft out there, man. They used to go to school with snow this high, like New York.
Don't you have a bunch of snow out there right now?
Yeah,
not a bunch, but I wouldn't call it a bunch. But yeah, we got snow.
Yeah, we got less than expected. I don't know how much you guys got, Jay, but we got like 3 to 4 inches. We were supposed to get 4 to 8. So I woke up this morning and was pleasantly surprised. It was nice.
Yeah, Obeda, we know.
Yeah, Obeda's trying to rub it in, but I'll tell you what, Obeda, I'll take snow over gators anytime.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, let's go fishing. There's a gator 6 feet from me. I'm good.
Look, Tyson is watching.
There
he
you
go. But he's on his phone.
Congratulations,
awesome.
Tyson.
Yeah, congrats, Tyson. I wanted to, before we get into the concussion topic, Ross, I also wanted to bring up, Mr. Plowden put a great post out, congratulating Jessie about, having that homegrown talent. Another amazing thing happened over the weekend as well. The men's team was a homegrown team, right? And we had all from Ben's martial arts, right? And it was cool to see Garth there coaching them with Troy, Ty, all those guys, all 3 of them from the same school. And that was a big deal. And I mean, I was going up to my room Friday, and Ty chased me down to tell me about it because he wanted me to mention it. And to him, just you could just tell how excited he was. That's something to him that's going to be his top 3 career moments, and just the way that, that he got to do that with his instructor and his student, all together, and then Garth being there as well. Like it was cool.
You got to look at it like Trey and Tyreek been with Troy since they were like 4 or 5 years old. Now Trey is significantly younger than Ty, so Ty's seen him grow up too. So that makes it even more special. So yeah, that's it feels good to fight with family, man.
Different. It is different, and it's rare.
A different vibe, and you guys are working together every day, all day, and even getting on each other's nerves and just all of that type of stuff, man. But to go out there and get on the line together, man, it feels like different feeling. Can't even explain it, but it's a great feeling. So kudos.
Getting on each other's nerves is a real thing too. Right? Because it's one thing if like you just meet up, like, all right, I know I'm gonna meet up with so and so, and we're gonna have. If I know I'm fighting with them, we're gonna have a good. We got a good chance. But it's one thing to fight with them 2-3 times a week, and you're gonna be with them all weekend. Sometimes you do intentionally get on each other's nerves. Sometimes.
Yeah, listen. When you're with family, sometimes you wish that you didn't have family with you, so you can easily discard them, tell them go sit down, kick them off the team, or whatever. But when you got those people that you grew up with, you love, and they're like blood or family, because you don't. Sometimes family is not always blood. It's more difficult, But when it's time to go to war, it's the best. Y'all on the same page.
That's awesome, dude. So that was a big moment. Another one I want to just shout out before is congrats to Eric Tremblay. He had 2 students win Warrior Cups this weekend. He had his son Esteban won his second Warrior Cup, so he got a forms one before. Now he got his weapons one, and then you had Wasim that won the junior one. So that's a really cool thing as well, And so I'm gonna work on having him on here as well to talk about that in the future. So.
It's
We don't see that as much, you know what I mean? Like recognizing the schools and the studios, like I know the only other person I can really think of that's done that with a stable like that in forms is Jason Warren, who's done that with the Presleys and Dawson. So
let me tell you a fun fact. Esteban used to be in Tyson's division in juniors. Tyson did forms. Tyson beat Esteban before. I think it was in traditional forms of weapons, Joe. You got to ask him about that one day. But yeah, I think it was at Ocean State or Mr. G's tournament.
All right. That's
hilarious.
That's a fun one. Oh, man. All right. So, Turbo, man. So,
yes, sir.
Let's talk about just, your post and what you watched over the weekend and what are some ideas you have as far as this concussion.
And a much needed topic, by the way.
Yes,
so glad you chimed in on that.
Yes.
Not just that somebody chimed in, but that you did.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, it's not the first time it's been brought up. It's not the first time I've brought it up. When I officially retired and went off into, the kickboxing world, it was something that I wanted to really try and dive into a little bit more because you see it happen. It's happened to me. I've done it to other people, and we see it in the sport all the time. And a lot of times it's not even meant to be that way. I would hope that we all know that this is not a knockout sport. This is not a full contact sport, but it happens, right? You got high level athletes moving at crazy speed, moving at the same time, and you're going to get that car crash, right? It happens. So, I think it's just important to understand what it is. I think people don't really understand what a concussion is. They think you have to be knocked out, unconscious to be diagnosed with concussion. That is not the case. So I think just a little bit more awareness. And as times change in every sport, you see the evolution of athlete safety. And I was talking about this. I actually had a really great call today with Greg Ruth. So shout out to Greg Ruth. He has done a lot of work with this and set up protocols. He sent me all the protocol that they put out for Battle of Atlanta. but that's great for Battle of Atlanta. It's time to get the whole group onto this, and like, let's make a nice little movement and educate everybody. So if you're going to be under the same banner of NASCA, that's kind of like the officiating body, we should all follow the same rules and, learn and grow together. So, really my mission right now is to kind of bring a little bit more awareness, educate some people, because that's all it takes. It doesn't cost dollars and cents, to make this a thing. And we can just protect our fighters and not even fighters, but athletes in general. I mean, forms and weapons competitors can have concussions too. So it's kind of where we're at.
What's so dangerous about somebody getting concussed and then continuing?
Well, I mean, there's the list goes on and on, but if we talk about if we want to go from worst to like worst case scenario and then trickle down, there's something that's called second impact syndrome. You guys can Google this. Second impact syndrome is when you suffer 2 concussions or more within a 24-hour period. The results can be fatal. It's really, really devastating stuff. You see a lot of times, even like boxers that pass away in the ring, it's because they've been concussed in sparring, and then shortly after they get concussed in a fight, or they have multiple concussions that go undiagnosed, and the brain just can't recover that fast. So that's worst case scenario. I don't anticipate seeing something like that in the point fighting world, but I mean, it's just, we look at now the prevalence of we're recognizing what CTE is, right? And it's that long-term damage to the brain that we don't even recognize until much, much later. But we can control a lot of it, and we can protect these athletes from it. So it's just dangerous if we're always going to tournaments and seeing the same people getting hurt over and over again. It's our responsibility to protect those people.
Definitely.
Well, you mentioned somebody having that possibly happen to them in 24 hours, but and the long-term effects, like if it happening later, like I think back, and I will just speak on it personally, how, listen, I'm pretty damn lucky that it didn't go really bad for me, right? I mentioned the story on the pod before, so I'll mention it briefly. We're in training for the Diamonds, and just our group, we just take that extremely serious. Well, we were also training with a guy who takes things way too serious as it is, right? BJ knocked me out during training. He didn't intend to, right? Because he didn't intend to. We're going to go on. But I got knocked out, all right? Sure. Listen, I know him enough. I know him enough that there's been times where he did intend to, all right? On guys, this one wasn't, but because I was going down and he caught me, right? And like stood me up and woke me up. So it was bad. That was on a Wednesday. Okay. I fought, how dumb is this? In a super fight on a Friday. That was a Wednesday night. On a Friday early afternoon, I'm fighting in a super fight. Not smart. Just get tagged, and I am out. All right. So now I go fight the next day. If this wasn't already dumb, it's getting retarded, right? We're going to call it, yes. All right, I know that's politically incorrect, but whatever. All right. Fighting. Now I'm fighting a guy who knows I'm rocked because he saw it all happen. I'm fighting Greg Betlock, and he just hammers me with overhand right ridge hands, and I lose. But I go back and I watch the video now, knowing what you've talked about, Ross. Like, I'm not playing with fire. I'm dancing in the fire. That is
your fire juggling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
It's tough, man. And you know what? You're not the only person that's.
But we don't know better at the
time. And we're all tough guys, right? Where you leave it to the competitor, they are always going to want to say, yes, I want to go compete. Because 100%. You put your blood, sweat, and tears in it on the mats. You've been training such a long time for it. You want to get out there and show your best. And a lot of times, and I'm sure in your situation, that initial one happened. Maybe you were uncomfortable for a day. Maybe you weren't. Maybe you got up the next day and you're like, feel good. I'm a well-trained athlete. And you feel okay. But now that we know, like, time has gone on, research has happened. Now we know that there are repercussions to that. So, with the knowledge, we can't go backwards and say, oh, this was wrong or this was right or we should have done this. It's irrelevant. but how do we move forward and do it the right way? So
Yeah.
the incident that happened this weekend was regarding Alex Mancias, right? Alex was fighting, had an awesome job. And we talked about Kevin. You guys talked about Kevin Walker earlier. Kevin was put back into the finals because Alex couldn't continue. Thankfully, I know Alex very well, and he's been a student of mine for a long time. And I gave him a call and listened. And thankfully, I was watching and heard about all of this. But, you know, they had an exchange. It was not malicious at all. It was a great technique. It was a good clash. Alex got the wrong end of it, and he went down. And he went down for a little bit. He got up. The medic evaluated him, you know, and the EMS that was there did what they were supposed to do. But, you know, I think what people don't understand is that EMS are not trained to figure out suspicion of head trauma. The EMS that are there at most events are emergency services, right? They're looking for major injuries or major incidents like a heart attack, like a massive neck injury, like a fracture. Someone breaks their ankle, something like that, where they need to get ambulatory services and go to a hospital. They're not used to seeing head trauma. You would be much better served with an athletic trainer, right? These are the people that are going and seeing that. So, you know, I think nowadays we have to recognize what's going on, you know. So luckily I saw this happen. I heard from his mother that night that he had won. So I was watching the video and I was like, ooh, that's not okay. He can't continue. Even though he was able to continue that fight, thankfully there was only maybe 15 seconds left. Finished the fight, won, but he did have symptoms the next day. You know, he was having headache, he was having some nausea, he was having some sensitivity to light. Some of those things we wouldn't even think of. We would just be like, oh, I'm a little groggy, irritated. I'm sore from last night. He would have went and fought the next day, and who knows what would have happened. So I'm just glad we were able to kind of put that aside. But you know, my eyes can't be everywhere, and I think, you know, even like talking with Greg Ruth was actually dealing with another incident at the same time, a junior that was having an issue. So Greg Ruth, with another child that had a seizure, I believe, also from head contact. So these things are happening, and there can't just be one person that's, you know, appointed to be like the guy who's going to make the decision. Because I told Greg earlier, I'm like, Greg, you're awesome. You know what to do, but you can't be in every ring. So how do we get more people to recognize what's going on? And really, it sounds very like difficult, but it's not. All we have to do is get a little education going. And really the conversation and the key word right now is suspicion of head trauma, right? And it's, a lot of people think it's a gray area, but I think we can very easily make it black and white, and make it very simple for judges to understand and recognize. You don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be an EMS, you don't have to be a medic, you just have to have a trained eye. And who better to do that than the referees that are right there that can learn what to look for. If I told you, Jeff, if you're judging fighting, right, and I said before the event starts, we get all the fighting judges together, or really all the judges, because this can happen in form. Someone can do an aerial fall, hit their head, whatever, fall, it doesn't matter. But if I got all the judges together for 5 minutes before the event and says, hey, we're really making a big push to be more aware of concussions and head trauma and athlete safety. These are the 5 things that we're looking for. Keep an eye out for it. And if you see something, that's going to be it for that competitor for the day. You might not catch every single one. No. Right. But we might catch an extra 1 or 2, you know, and I think you're aware, we learn.
You're aware and you're actually looking for it. Right.
Yeah. I think it just the awareness is really what it comes down to. And you know, we can't just rely on 1 or 2 people. We have to slowly educate the community and allow each other to help. And like I said, the most important thing, I know promoters are businessmen. We know that. Everyone's looking at their bottom dollar and, you know, what is it going to cost? It costs nothing, $0 to educate each other. So that's really my pitch, because I know the promoters are looking to keep their pockets the way they are. And I understand that it is a business. But we also, I think across the board, we can all agree athlete safety is number 1.
How quick would that take, though, to say, all right, judges, bring it in? These are the 5 things that we're looking for. Right. Suspicion, blah, head trauma, whatever, dizziness, whatever it is. Quick, just like we bring the fighters in and give them the rules real quick.
And I tell you what, Jesse, they're doing better. It sounds like by actually having judges meetings now and officials meetings. That's something that NASCA's really trying to do with their judges certification, and they're having meetings. So that's something that, you can really, do that there, and then at the ring as well, which is something we talked about even with just briefing everyone on the rules, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
the
Ross,
other
didn't
thing
you come up with something with Mark Plucker a while back? I remember you
A
guys were
long
thought
talking.
you
time
guys
ago.
did.
A long time ago, we did. Yeah, we put together some protocols that actually Greg Ruth, like I said, I was talking about him before, had implemented at the Battle of Atlanta. He was really the only one that took to it, that was interested in it, that followed through on it. But again, it's great for the Battle of Atlanta, right? It's awesome
Right.
for them.
Right.
But
Yeah.
what about AK?
Everybody
What about
else.
we got compete nationals? And listen, like Greg had a great thing. He was like, listen, I want you to come down to Battle of Atlanta. He's going to help me get down to Battle of Atlanta and wants me to be part of the judges meeting, and the promoters meeting at the Battle of Atlanta. And I told Greg, I said, listen, man, I would love to. Let me know the dates as soon as you have them, but that's in June. What are we
Right.
going to do between now and June?
Sure.
Why should we let it go until then? Why not have something in place ready to go for,
Now.
Yep.
compete nationals? That's the next
Yep.
event, right? It's a couple weeks away.
Exactly.
It doesn't change the way anything else is done. It just changes the way that you protect your competitors. But let's also, you mentioned one thing, like, what's it cost? There is a cost. Well, it doesn't cost you anything to implement it. There is a massive cost at stake if you don't, right? Because what's
Exactly.
at stake if you don't, right? And why anybody would not understand that, like, this is what's at stake. You know who just is ignoring us because we're not important enough to really pay attention to, but if they found out this was happening, they would go right after us, is the boxing commission, right? If the boxing commission comes after us, like, Ross, you're a professional fighter, right? You are a full contact champion. When you have to do that, what you have to do when you fight in glory, all right, when you fight in karate combat, that would be what point fighters would have to do. What is that like?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Forget.
Yeah, I think you kind of cross a dangerous line there, Alex. And what I mean by that is you really can't compare the two. What I would much rather you compare it to is, instead of saying, hey, what are these guys at the pro level that are doing a knockout sport doing? Because what we do is irrelevant, because there's a commission and a governing body that oversees everything. And they have protocols in place where they actually train all of their officials. And that's why there's a commission. And those guys get paid very, very well to do what they got to do. We don't have that luxury. And we don't want that luxury because we're an amateur sport. So what I would much rather have you compare it to is Pee Wee football, right? Let's talk about Pee Wee football. Little kids,
Good analogy.
right? If you are a coach in a Pee Wee football team and you see a kid make a tackle and they get either hit helmet to helmet, or they get wrapped up and they fall and they crack their helmet against the ground, nobody's fault, no malintent, nothing wrong was being done. Everything was good technique. It just happened.
Yep.
Right? You see a kid get up and kind of stumble a little bit. We ain't letting that kid's not playing anymore. Right? We are 100% on athlete safety. And it's the same thing that they do with Pee Wee football, with soccer, youth soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, high school sports, Division I sports, professional sports. Now the terminology is like, we don't have to diagnose concussions. That's not our job, right? That's a neuroscientist, a neurosurgeon. That's their job, to diagnose and treat. Our job as people who are involved in the sport that oversees youth athletes or any type of combat athletes is to detect suspicion of head trauma. That's it. It's really simple. Now, I say it's really simple. In theory, it's simple, but you have to know what to look for. And these are like the little things that we can start to educate. I think the big thing for me really is, what are the things that are standing in the way of us making this a more, regular thing, where this is part of the culture of sport karate? What is standing in the way? And let's reverse engineer it, because everyone is quick to be like, yeah, we agree. We want to do this, and nothing gets done. So let's go the other way. Let's figure out, let's imagine everything is really easy for us to do. What's standing in the way, right? So I'm going to leave that to you guys, because you're a little more involved in the sport. What would you think are the biggest barriers for us implementing stuff like this on a regular basis?
Um, I would say I say you can get 6 promoters off the back that'll be like, yes, we're down with it, we'll roll with it. But then you'll get like another 6 that'll be like, well, yeah, we got things in place, and I've been doing this for 40 years, 30 years. I know how to run my tournament. We have the best
Yeah.
doctors and all this stuff or whatever, whatever. But they don't.
Right.
It's kind of that thing when you start trying to tell somebody what to do, you get defensive. And I don't know what it is, because we did something before that was friendly and that was needed, but we got a little pushback just because speaking on, it felt like
Yeah.
we were trying to tell somebody to do. Now, secretly, Jeff, you notice,
Yeah.
they all started making changes behind the scenes
Right.
because we made it hot. And that's why I said, Ross, maybe take
Yeah.
this route, because we made it hot, but they wouldn't give us that satisfaction of saying, like, they spoke to us and we agree with you and we're going to listen to them. They wouldn't give us that. So
yeah, but you know what? I don't even care. Like, I don't want this to be the Ross Levine concussion protocol rule.
Right.
Like,
No,
I just want it to get done. So I don't care. I don't need the credit. I don't want credit. I just want improvement.
But
so
this is life and death, if you ask me. This is really
Exactly.
serious.
It is.
This is really
I think-
serious. So I don't even think we can play that game with this. Everybody needs to get on board.
Well, I think part of what you said there is true. But I think it's true in a good way, where, a lot of times you mentioned some of these guys think like, oh, we've been doing this for 40 years. We've run a tournament the best and blah, blah, blah. And you're probably right. But what's the sense of having the best surgeon in the world with tools from 1980? Right. So like they might very well be the best promoters on the planet. I mean, I think they are. NASCA's been around for how long? They've been doing it for how long? We all keep going. They're doing something right, but they're using old tools. So what I would love to do is refresh their tools. Let me give them a new tool book. Let me give them a new playbook. Let's give them a little bit more advanced science, right? And like, let them keep doing what they're doing. You keep promoting the way you want to promote. Let's just upgrade everything else and put a pretty bow on it to keep everybody safe. I think that's pretty simple there.
Yeah.
And
when
you
you
frame it,
this.
and that's the thing, when you frame it in the terms of like, I don't want to change the way you're doing things, but we want our athletes to be safe, right? As long as we frame it with that in mind, I think it's pretty easy for everyone to get on board with. And I don't want to let this go by. Joey Perry, I know you're looking. I'm going to send you a DM because I think you're a great person to get behind this as well. I'd love to do stuff with ProMac too. This is not just NASCA exclusive. Like, I want to help multiple areas. I've already spoke with a bunch of people. So Joey, I'll touch base with you because you're the man.
So you have like some literature or something? Because what I can do is probably email some of the promoters and just to get the ball started. Maybe we'll talk behind the scenes more about that if you want to put it out there. But yeah, let's get this rolling, man. And I'm gonna
it's gotta happen. I do think what Brett was saying is one thing as well. Is there's the whole, hey, we're down a judge, someone step in, and they weren't there in the meetings, or they didn't do the and as a promoter in the past, I've dealt with that as well, where I've had, all right, we're going to change this. We're going to all do this way. So that way there's no injuries or this or that. And then some reason someone stepped in because a ring was down and we lost the judge. And then that was where the issue was, because that person wasn't brought up to speed. So I think there's got to be just, unfortunately, it's hard for us because we want our tournament to run, but we're going to have to be more specific on, okay, you're only judging if you've gone through this, this, and this. All right, you want to step in right now, you got to go through steps right now.
So I don't even think it needs that, because when you force judges to say, like, you have to get certified with X, Y, and Z, naturally, like Jessie was saying, people are going to be like, I kind of already know how to do this, so I'm not going to do it, right? The way I explained it to Mr. Ruth earlier is, when you get on an airplane, the first thing everyone does when you sit on the airplane is they tell you where your exits are. They tell you, here's this information packet in the seat back pocket, please review it. And Nobody does. You just pray to God that an emergency doesn't happen. And if it does, God, I hope the people in the emergency row know how to open that damn door. Right. But it doesn't have to be that way. And that's why they read everything out to you and they show you the demonstration every time you get on a flight. It doesn't matter how many flights you've been on. It doesn't matter how many flights you've been on. Every time you get on a flight, they're going to go through that, whether you know it or not. And you know what? Somebody is going to pay attention and someone is going to catch on. You could probably rehearse it to me right now and you probably don't even listen to it, but you've heard it innately so many times. And I think that's the key.
That is a great point.
I love that description.
Yep, that's true.
Yes.
We don't have to get it all at once, which I think is what people are afraid of. You don't have to we're not going to get it all at once. We're not going to fix it immediately in one tournament. But if we start at Compete Nationals and you get 15 judges together, that's 15 judges that now know what to look for. And during that moment, if there's one incident, hopefully there's not, but if there is, that one judge that's in the ring is now going to tell the two other judges that are there. Now, instead of 15, now we have 17. Now at the next tournament, you hold another meeting. Maybe there's 20 people there. Now you have 37 people that know. Do you understand? It's like progressive. Yeah. So now if we talk about, okay, you invited me to Battle of Atlanta to talk at the promoters meeting. Great. Let's gather some data between Compete Nationals and Battle of Atlanta. And now when I go and talk to everybody, now we can say what's working, what's not working, how do we make it better instead of starting from ground zero. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was a great analogy, the way you explained that.
You're killing it with the analogies today. You had a bunch of good ones.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, for example, I'm a promoter, and I've had an event, and one referee was short, and a least experienced judge filled in, and maybe started making the wrong type of calls, and then the other guys, like Ross said, brought it to a circle, filled them in real quick, brought them up to speed, called me over just to double check, and it was magic.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't get to the point where it affected the competitor.
Right.
So yes, man, that is definitely a good way to go. I'm running with Ross on this, 100%.
I would say the only other barrier is actually on the parent side or the competitor side, where these people, and again, I'm going to play devil's advocate and understand, be in their shoes for a second. Listen, you guys pay a lot of money to go to these tournaments, and maybe you're doing multiple divisions. Maybe somebody gets hurt. Let's take Alex, for example. Maybe let's say Alex is 15 years old. Let's turn back the clock. Yeah. Alex gets hurt in youth team sparring. And now he gets pulled from play, and now he can't compete in the 15 forms and weapons divisions that you paid for him to do the next day.
Right.
What do we do there? Would it be that bad to refund the divisions that they can't compete in? I don't think that would be bad. I think if the promoter really wants to show that they're willing to do it, now we're talking dollars and cents. But even if they didn't, right? Do I personally think that would be the worst thing in the world to say, you know what, you weren't able to compete for a safety precaution, we're going to refund you? No, I don't think that's a big deal. But even if it was a big deal, we could still be like, listen, is it that important for your son or daughter to go and compete in these divisions? You have a potential head injury on your hands. Like, we really don't think it's appropriate. So no, we're not going to allow it. And we want you to go and see a doctor until you're ready to return. So, I mean, there are ways around it. Those get a little more complicated when you start talking money. But again, if you frame it in the sense of safety comes first, then I think from the promoter standpoint, it's possible.
Yeah. They're not going to do that one, Ross. I'm sorry to tell you.
And listen, if they don't, it's still, at the end of the day, we're still pushing athlete safety. Whether you paid your money or not, it really doesn't matter. How much can you put a price on your child's health, brain health? You only get one of those. It's not like you break an ankle, you could fix it, right? You can't go and you can't fix your brain. So, I would rather sacrifice that extra, couple $100 for competition fees and chalk it up to, you know what, these guys did the right thing by my kid. That's going to be really important. And same thing for adults. We've lost competitors to this. People don't remember Chelsea Nash stopped competing for concussion issues.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've lost competitors to this already. We don't want it to happen again.
I think that a professional, maybe referee, send a ref, speak to the parent. Like, look, we have suspicion of a child injury.
Sure.
Look the parent in the eye, tell them we're worried about their safety, so we're going to say that they can't compete for the rest of the weekend. I think that's You know, and the parents
Yeah,
has a soft place in their heart for their kids. So
you know,
some
and
of them are
social
the
media
old
is
school parents that's like, yo, nah, my kid, you know,
I
tough
get it.
guys, but
I get
you
it.
can't make everybody happy.
I don't think any parent would, you know, with the right person giving the message. You know, I don't care how tough a parent is. If I was in front of somebody and was able to articulate what's really going on, like, hey, we're trying to save your kid's life potentially.
Oh, if
I
you
think
were
they
the
would.
one in front of
I
him,
think they would
I think
eat.
you bat 1,000.
Well, so here's the thing. Social media is a very powerful thing. Again, it
Mhm.
costs $0.00 for me to make a promotional video for NASCA and say, these are some of the things that we're going to start implementing moving forward. Sport karate is about child safety and athlete safety first. These are the things we want you to be aware of. These are the things we're going to educate our judges on. We are going to make sport karate a safe place for everyone to compete in. I
What's
don't see
crazy?
anybody not sitting back and doing this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like,
100%. What's
That's
crazy, Ross,
it.
is that
That's
you're campaigning for an unopposed, you know, campaign position, and it feels like some are going, we're good, you know,
yeah,
and it's like, no, you're not. No, you're not good.
yo,
yeah,
this is free game.
yeah.
You're getting
I'm
it
gonna be
for
right back. I need
somebody
my
that
phone charger. Hang on, because I don't want to die on you guys. You keep talking. I can hear you.
for sure. You're getting it from somebody that competed in the sport at a high level, one of the most
Yeah.
decorated
The highest.
martial artists
Right.
Highest
in
level.
in the game, right? Not only in the dojo, outside the dojo, put the work in, became a doctor at his
Yeah.
craft. In
Right.
the
What is
same
this background?
thing.
It's my wife.
Yeah, that's pretty cute. That's pretty cute. But yeah,
Thank you.
in the
Thank you.
same
Look, it
uh
changes
the
colors.
background has to do with the same sport that he competed in.
Right.
So he knows from a physical standpoint and from a medical standpoint. Um,
Well, yeah.
and he's willing to, first of all, not getting enough credit. Ross is a celebrity. You know,
Oh, come on now. I
he
don't
was
see
the
it that way.
champion in karate kickboxing also.
Yes.
And he's willing to do a video campaign for your brand. That's a no-brainer.
You just
Well, and I think it just, you know, it can't just be me though. And honestly, I don't really want it to just be me because it can't. Coming from me is useless because a lot of the sport doesn't know who I am right now, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. It's not the point. The point is we need enough powerful voices. I've had Bailey Murphy reach out to me and be like, dude, if you do anything with this, I'm behind you. Cool. I asked him, I was like, would you be willing to help me and talk to these people for me? He's like, absolutely. So there we go. We got two powerful voices. We got Greg Ruth. We got Jessie
You
Ray.
got
We got
Tyson.
Jeff Dawson, Alex.
You got
Yeah.
Tyson.
So
You got
like
Jess.
we're building some momentum. I'm talking to Don Rodriguez. I'm going to reach out to Don and Christine Rodriguez if they're watching. You know, I'm going to reach out to you guys this week. Holly Haggard already reached out to me. I'm going to reach out to Joey Perry. You know, so I'm trying to build a little bit of a force to move this in the right direction. And I think that's what it takes. You know, it doesn't have to be, like I said, we don't got to get it all at once. It's not going to happen all at once. We just need to make slow, steady progress. And you'd be amazed at what we can do in the course of a year. You know,
Right.
how many damn rule changes does NASCA make over the course of a year? We
Yeah.
could do one thing for athlete safety over the course of a year.
Correct.
And listen, if we catch
That's a fact.
one incident, if we can catch one incident per tournament, that's potentially 12 lives that you save there. You know,
I'm
if
still
we look
trying
at
to
it like
catch up.
that, Mike Politi, I know, is behind me. So
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Politi just. Yep.
yeah.
I'm still trying to catch up on the rule changes from 2022. So
Yeah.
there's quite a few, you know,
Yeah.
but I agree with you. Like,
Mm.
we can do this one thing that costs nothing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. That's
Please
easy.
do it, man. Please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny, Ross. I mean, some of the worst knockouts I've seen, I've seen in forums where people and they let them go do multiple things after, you know, falling on their head or hitting themselves with the weapon, which I did this weekend. I had a big knot, you know, from it, and people were freaking out because I was.
Where is it? I was
I
It's
saw the
expecting to
knot.
see
see it. Oh, it
What
is there.
happened? I
Yeah,
seen
it's not
the
bad
speed
anymore.
knot.
Yeah, just a little bit, but yeah, I mean,
Chucks.
yeah, the chucks, yeah. And so I've seen someone hit like go so hard on their bow and then come around and drop themselves with it. And so it's, there's a lot of things that happen. I mean, Alex, you always said your biggest injuries have happened. Most of your injury happens in form. So there's so many different things, right? But we gotta be careful. I think one of the things is, if I had an injury in fighting, that just affects my fighting. I can go and do the rest of the stuff. And I think that's something that I've seen many times, right? I've seen that happen over weeks. When we had the Super Grands for a week, fighting would be in the beginning of the week, and then they try to do the rest of their stuff. That does not help them. There's a lot of issues that way. So I think we need to make sure, Josh Durbin doing that double backflip. He's actually the other person that I also saw hit himself in the head with his bow.
remember that.
He's had several things that happened to him.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's the thing. And what's crazy too is that you don't see it a lot because I don't think the velocity and the force generated is enough in like a contact sport like sport karate. But you don't even have to get hit in the head to have some of these signs and symptoms. So that's the crazy part, and that's the danger. Is sometimes it does go under the radar. But for the most part, for what we can see, like I said, our job is not to diagnose things and get it all in one shot. Our job is to be preventative, work ahead of some of this stuff. And if we can catch some of it, then, we're doing a really, really great service for the athletes.
Well, what about this, Ross? I just kind of thought about this. Like, let's just say they had one of us, just as a sake of conversation, as a spotter. Like, your job is not to be a judge. Your job is just to kind of watch these two rings right here. And if you spot contact like that, where your call is just to be looking at that and saying, these guys didn't catch that. I caught that. This guy's he's not right.
Alex, now we talking about an extra body.
That's a good point. Never mind.
I don't think it's necessary.
See, that's why I
don't
think
it's
out loud
necessary.
sometimes. I'm glad.
I would say this though, like maybe so if somebody potentially get concussed or whatever, usually they call timeout. They're talking to their coach and playing with their foot gear or whatever they're doing, and the judges talk about it. Maybe have like something at the ring where, like, we're calling this a medical suspicion. You can't continue, move on or whatever, or disqualification, whatever the protocol is.
I mean, I think the protocol can be really simple. I think as long as at least one of the referees understands, it doesn't even have to be the center referee, as long as one of the referees understands what's happening in the moment. It's the same way that a referee, if me, you, and Alex Dingman were judging a sparring event, right? Jeff, you're the competitor, and Jeff steps out of bounds, and Jesse, you thought he was out of bounds, and I thought he was out of bounds, and Alex is like, no, he wasn't out of bounds. What do we do? Timeout. Judges come to me, have a quick discussion. Done. Yep. It's the same protocol, right?
They do it in the NFL.
That's it.
Talk and get it right.
Thing. It's the same thing. Yep. It really doesn't take much time or effort. All it takes is a little education, and that's really what I think it's all about. The other thing that Mr. Ruth brought up that was really good, and you guys kind of touched on it a little bit, and again, if we can just keep bringing up like what might be the barriers and just knocking those down, then we can kind of see how this is a no-brainer. But Greg brought up a really great point, and he said, well, what if you do this this conversation in the beginning of the day? So let's say Saturday morning pops up. We had the conversation Friday, but some of those judges weren't there. We do the conversation again Saturday morning, another 5-10 minute talk with the referees before divisions start. But maybe someone gets pulled in, every once in a while. Let's say I'm there, right? And I don't know what I know. And just former fighters love to do this, right? And we just love to step in and judge the fighting divisions, right? So it's really simple for me to just jump in, but maybe now I don't know. Maybe I missed that meeting. So the one thing I said was, well, we could do it in the beginning, but the same way, let's say have all of your fighting divisions start. No fighting division can start youth at no earlier than noon, and adults no earlier than 1. And you just pull all the referees together. If you're judging sparring, all of the fighters get staged in one ring, right? And then they get split up to whatever rings, because that happens anyway. Yeah. All the referees, if you're refereeing sparring, please come to this ring, and we're going to stage all the referees in each ring. And you go through that quick conversation. Hey guys, we're really focusing in on this. This is something that we're going to be aware of. So all the judges know, all the fighters know, Hopefully some of the coaches might be standing there too. The coaches are going to hear it, right? And again, it doesn't have to happen all at once. We just slowly piece it together, and over the course of a year, I think people are going to be really on board with this.
Listen, they did it with the elbow pads and the shin pads. You can't even continue without getting searched. It's the same thing.
Right.
It's an easy fix, man. If they just stress that right before, put it in a judge's mind for the day, now they're looking for it.
Yeah. And again, it maybe not everybody was there, but as long as one person
was
saw
there,
it, because then it's not pointing fingers, right? Let's say, for example, again, I'm just going to use an example, and this is not me saying that any of these guys did a good job. You got three incredible judges. It was Nick Kane, it was Vito Rodriguez, it was DeJuan Brown. All of them very respected judges, really, really good people. I've judged with all of them. They've all judged me. It's cool. Vito was the center ref at the moment. He just followed what the medic said. He didn't know any better. It's not his fault. But maybe Nick Kane would have been at that meeting and heard it, and he could have intervened, right? And said, hey, by the way, I know the medic is saying this, but that was clearly a knockout. Do we all agree that he wasn't quite there? We don't think he's really right. All right, I think we're going to stop him from competition. Done.
Well, and I think what we need to know.
I've seen that happen before too, Alex. Like I've seen that happen where the judges said, okay, I think this is US Open many years ago. I remember seeing that where they were going to let them continue, and the ref said, no, we're not letting this happen.
Yeah, David has done it before. David Boston has done that, has overruled what a medic has said. I did it in Toronto. Tommy LeDuc got sidekicked in the face, unfortunately, and he reached out to me too. He was like, I'm glad you were in my ring because they were going to let me compete. The medic was like, okay, he's ready to go. I'm like, nope, he's done for the day. Sorry. We moved on immediately. You know, we got him safe. We made sure he was okay. The medic was under the medic's supervision, and that was it. The medic was like, okay, give him a couple minutes. He can continue. I was like, he's done for the day. Let's just evaluate him, treat him. When you're ready to move him, let's move him. We're going to continue the ring. And we did. And that's all it takes.
Simple.
Because just as simple as it is to do that, it's equally as simple to circumvent that, right? And we've been guilty of that, right? I talked to like someone I was coaching who got dropped, and when they stood up and I looked at them, and I'm going to be very transparent and say this, and I said, hey, do you want to keep fighting? You know what just happened. And they went, yep. And I go, okay, shut up.
Don't get him, Tiger.
Don't say one word. Because if you say anything, you're going to eventually be caught. So if you want to fight, shut up. Don't look anybody in the eye. Don't say one word.
What?
And
Alex,
but that's where the education comes in, though, man. Like I said, we're not going to get it all. You know, and I think that's what people have to understand. I'm not trying to change the world in one shot. You can't do it. It's not going to happen. Look, it happens in the NFL. Look at Tua. This guy gets concussed every other freaking game, and it's like these guys have the best professionals on staff at the event. We don't need that. These guys are also making millions of dollars. So listen, you do what you got to do. That's your career. That's your money. But, we can control a little bit better what's happening simply with suspicion. And it's a pretty solid idea. It's a great start. It's a really great start.
I like it.
So let's go on record and make a little campaign with some of the top fighters or promoters.
Yeah.
We'll do a little video thing or something like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a quick list. I've got a lot of people who have already reached out to me. I'm really glad that it got so much heat on Facebook in just a day or two. It's really good. I guess it kind of was supposed to do that.
Well done.
Yeah, Joey, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
So it was a good thing that happened. I'm glad that Alex is okay. I'm glad that other kid that had an injury is also okay. Actually that child's parent reached out to me as well and let me know that, they appreciate me making that comment. So it's gaining traction pretty quickly. The key though is let's keep it going. It's easy to see something and it's a hot topic and everyone wants to chime in and talk about it. And then, in a
Then it
week,
dies
the
out.
news cycle turns. I mean, people are already talking about freaking Trump's inauguration and Elon Musk is a psychopath, and like people are going to forget tomorrow. So
Yeah.
like,
100%.
I already have a little bit of a list, and I'm going to keep in contact with some of these people, and ideally, I'm going to reach out to the Jahan Bosch family and see if they're interested in maybe doing something. So yeah, the problem is I also can't be at every NASCAR event. I
Yeah,
wish I
of
could,
course
but
not.
I got a lot of things going on. So I'm going to need mercenaries to roll with me and kind of let's
Right.
push this in the right direction. So I'm really excited for it. I'm passionate about this stuff. I want this to be, safe sport for everybody, because it's a sport that I grew up in. It's a sport I love and I care deeply about, and I want to see good things happen.
Hey Ross, congratulations on your new school, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you,
Hey,
sir.
thanks,
Thank you,
man.
sir.
I seen that.
Yeah,
I
appreciate
seen
it.
that. I'm like,
Appreciate
wow,
that.
that's awesome. Look like you got good space. I see you got a
Yeah.
little couple stitches, got a little knickknacks.
Yeah. Well, the stitches came out already. Guess who took those out?
Might be, or you did.
Of course I did it. What's funny is the nurse that put him in. I went to the urgent care and I just cut myself with a putty knife. If you guys follow my YouTube channel, we got a YouTube channel. All that good stuff's on there.
Yeah, that's all
But
I see.
yeah. So my wife is killing it. I'm an influencer now, I guess, on the social media side. But yeah, the urgent care nurse, they put the stitches in. They're like, all right, come back in 7 days. We'll take them out. I was like, hey, can my primary care take these out? And she looked at me dead in the face and she was like, don't you dare take those out by yourself. I was like, oh, you got me. You got me. I was like, I'm definitely going to take them out on my own. I'm just letting you know. So
You heard that
she's
tricky
like,
word in my primary care.
Yeah.
primary care.
Look at what you did, though.
AKA primary care. I'm
Right.
not a primary care doctor, but I know enough. Look, it looks great. It looks great. You
No,
barely
yeah, it's
even
good.
know.
It's nice.
Yeah. Big
Yeah,
deal.
leave that to the contractors, man. No more.
Yeah.
I know. I was already in there putting in work today. I had my scraper just knocking out. There was like these old laminates. I'm like, get all this junk out of here. So I was putting in some work today. It's
Was
good.
that a karate school before?
It was. So it must have been office building, and then it was a martial arts school. I actually know the former owner. Great guy, good martial artist. Just ran into some trouble during COVID, and couldn't keep the doors open. I mean, it happened to too many schools.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
unfortunate, but it never got rented out after that. It's a fantastic place. Really nice space, about 3,300 square feet, a little over 3,300. So it's a good sized gym. It's not a starter gym. I'm putting a lot into it. This is going to be like the Taj Mahal of kickboxing gyms. I can't wait for you guys to come up. We're actually looking to we're planning, if everything goes smoothly, which so far it has been, soft opening sometime in March and then grand opening in April. So what I'm trying to do is coordinate something around Ocean State. So if people want to stick around, maybe we'll do something on like that Sunday where people can come in and
You
kind of
did
check
that
out the
before
space.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be a lot of fun where we can do that. And the people in the sport karate world, if they want to come check out, Turbo Kickboxing, they can see it and hit some bags and put some fun on the mats, and we'll have a good time. So anybody who can stick around, especially people in driving range. The other cool thing is it's in the plaza that we're in. There's an Amtrak station in that plaza. So people that want to come from further away, you can just Amtrak literally right to my spot in Wickford Junction. So
That's
pretty
fine.
sick. There's a hotel.
Fire.
They're building new condos. It's like, this is prime time. I'm super excited for it. We're gonna do some massive things in the community. We can't wait. Forget the stuff we're gonna do in the gym. The stuff we're gonna do for the community is even better.
Dope.
I love
Congrats,
it. I love
man.
it, Ross.
That's
Thank you,
big.
sir.
You
Thank you.
deserve it.
Good stuff.
I'm following
Much
you guys.
success.
I'm following you guys. You and Jody and that whole crew. You guys really turned me on to becoming an amazing coach. So just following in the footsteps of the greats before me. That's all.
My dude.
And Ross, thank you so much. Jesse, thank you so much. Congrats to all the Warrior Cup winners. Congrats to all the big winners. We'll probably next week talk even more about it. The
100%.
first term of the year. I feel like every year we do a 2-part series on Warrior Cup. So much to talk about, but it's going to be big, man. And guys, just keep following Ross, and let's keep communicating about this and how we can make this better.
Look
And,
at you, Mr. Health Nut, over here. You got a gallon of that looks like a 2-gallon jug. What is that?
It's a 1 gallon. I'm slacking. Look how much I'm not finishing this tonight. I've been bad on my water. I'm putting too much time.
Here I am sipping black coffee. You got over here sipping a gallon of water.
Black coffee. It's almost midnight, man. Go to bed. You're gonna be up all night.
He'll be
Yes,
up all night. That's what he does.
I'll be up all night.
That's what he does.
Still sulking about the Vikings. I get it.
No, this is when I get to do work. This is when I get an extended.
Oh,
work
that's fair.
week.
That's
No
fair.
kid.
That's fair.
I'm
I don't know
staying
about
quiet.
that yet. I'm working on that. I'm looking forward to those days when I can only be up and at doing work at midnight. So I look forward to those days.
I'm
man.
not talking no football.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. My team is miserable.
Me neither.
We're all in bad shape here.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
That's
can make
great.
predictions next week.
Yeah. Well, Jeff and I are in a fantasy league, so we're doing okay.
Yeah, doing okay.
Oh,
Making
speaking
moves.
of
Still
that,
making moves. Yeah.
Ross, this is 4 years in a row. We have a
I know, crazy.
PPR.
What are you guys doing?
PPR, right? Fantasy
Yeah.
Football League. Jeff has won it 4 years in a row.
Team Turbo, baby.
And he'd never even done. He'd never even done fantasy football.
Oh,
I
I
had to
have.
talk him
I have.
into it. All
You
right.
did have to talk me into it because
I
I
had
didn't
to
have
talk
time
him into
for
it. Now the guy can't lose.
Yeah.
He's a
That's how it
winner.
goes.
Yeah.
He's a
No,
winner.
it's annoying. It's annoying, is what
Listen,
it is.
they really hate me. They really hate me.
Because
The
it's-
analytics guy.
Yeah.
yeah,
He knows
then, we
everything.
got, then I'm like, let's get him in something I know I'm going to win. Let's do fantasy basketball. This nerd wins there too because he
You won
figures
that
out the
too?
tricks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I'm
gotta.
on
It's
the
all
team right
about. It's a little bit of
Ah.
luck. It's a lot of luck and everything else. But
We could
I don't
do
know.
fantasy synchronized swimming, and he would figure out a way to win that.
I don't even want to even imagine what the heck that
I don't
is.
know.
Exactly.
Oh,
All
Well,
right,
right.
guys,
guys.
it's getting late for me. My
Yep,
wife is
same.
gonna kill me if I don't turn all this stuff off and get to bed. So,
That's a fact.
yeah, I really appreciate the platform. Jesse, you're the man. First of all, again, congrats to Tyson. Congrats
Thank
to
you,
Next
man.
Level for getting another cup. Shout out, BX.
Thank you. Thank you.
But Castle Hill, baby. My dad said. to
You
tell
already
Castle
know.
Hill.
Yeah, tell
But,
your dad and your mom I said what's
I
up.
will.
His
But,
mother lived in the building directly across from the building I grew up in. We talk about
Crazy, man.
Castle Hill every time we get together.
Yep. But Jesse, we were communicating over the weekend of like, hey, we need to make something happen. Can you talk to somebody right away? And of course, you were busy. I don't blame you for that. But he was like, yo, what about Alex and Jeff? I was like, oh my God, perfect. Because everybody who's anybody is watching this show. So I appreciate the platform as always to be able to chat about this stuff and having guys like you. And again, it's all about recognition and a little bit of power to put behind some of this stuff. So, having the right people talking about it and supporting me means a lot. And to have you three, on with me talking about it is massive. So we're going to keep this thing rolling. We're going to make some good changes for the sport and keep the athletes safe.
Yes, sir.
We're in, right, Jeff?
Appreciate
We're
you,
in.
bro.
Yes, sir. Let's do
We're
it.
in.
Signed, sealed, delivered. All right.
Yeah,
We'll
for
keep
sure.
posted on this. So thank you guys again. I appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
All right, now.
Thanks, Ross.
Thank you. This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys.